That's spicy. Alright, so compositionally, their bot lane is Ezreal Braum. Yours is Ash Bard. Ash Bard should definitely win that. Volley is really potent into Ezreal. He can't really dodge it meaningfully, and she can chase him down the lane better than some AD carries can. And she has her ultimate, which fired point blank, he can't really react to, and they have pretty reliable kill pressure. They have jungle Rengar. You have jungle Shaco. Shaco is much stronger early. Rengar has kill potential at 6. Avoiding Rengar ultimates and being able to track him in the jungle is extremely valuable for that reason. If you can track him and he can waste an ultimate, then Rengar has a really hard time getting successful ganks off without his ultimate. So if you can not die to early Rengar ganks, then the champion falls off really quickly. Shaco has a lot more reliability with the way that he ganks, so Shaco is a lot more potent early in the game, and isn't as like feast or famine on like a couple of post 6 scenarios, which can really snowball Rengar, or it can set the pace of the game where he's just kind of permanently behind. And then they have Brand versus your Azir, and Brand probably early gets to win this just because of how much damage he can do with W, but he can't reliably E you, and throwing his Q out should be relatively difficult too, so the only way that he should be able to meaningfully trade with you is W. So maybe really early, before you have a lot of damage, he can trade into you pretty effectively, and he might even have kill pressure. And then after really early, you're going to be able to poke him from a relatively safe range, and you're going to have more uptime to your poke. So you can poke very frequently, whereas he doesn't have as much of that availability. He needs to get like a combo off, and as long as you're not positioned too close, you should never get E'd. You should never get Q'd unless you're positioning way off to the side and you get hit by one. Then you even have cleanse for it. So you should be really safe in this lane to play relatively aggressively after the first couple of levels, and it should be pretty Azir favored from there. Top lane is Pantheon versus Nasus. This is going to be extremely one-sided. Early, Pantheon is going to destroy this Nasus for the first few levels, and if he doesn't get a massive advantage in the first few levels, or if this Nasus doesn't die or something, then this Nasus is going to farm this Pantheon for the rest of the game. This Nasus will farm this Pantheon for the rest of the game. I don't care if people say that Pantheon bullies Nasus early, because if you don't get a meaningful advantage, you don't get enough of an advantage, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And this Nasus could very easily, against their comp, become extremely powerful. Cleanse in this game makes a little more sense because they have Pantheon, there's Brand Stun that you directly interact with, there's Root from Bola, which if he flies into you, that can be a little bit more reliable. And I'll wait for it to respond. And then they also have the Braum stun that can come. So cleanse makes a little more sense in this game than it did in the previous one, where Inferno took it. Honestly, their brand is inting by not taking cleanse into Ashe. And then also Nasus, like Wither plus Arrow as an immobile mid laner. I feel like you have to take cleanse into that. So the fact that he doesn't have cleanse, or at least like unsealed spellbook, bodes pretty poorly for him as this game progresses. Because and honestly, if your Ashe doesn't know it, just tell her at the start of the game this brand doesn't have cleanse. So mid game, you guys should literally just play around wherever this brand is, arrow him, kill him, 100% of the time. Just arrow him, kill him, over and over, over and over. Nothing you can do about it. If he doesn't have flash up, he dies. 100% of the time. He just dies. With no counterplay. And you guys should abuse the fuck out of that. This Pantheon will also be really squishy. This Rengar will be squishy, but he has a CC break potentially, if he has his ferocity built up. So you have a lot of targets to get picks on in this game. But what we're going to be looking for early is Azir wants to be able to make it through the first few levels where Brand is going to have a little bit higher damage, and he's going to be able to push in the wave against Azir a little bit, because you're not going to be able to move up very aggressively. You don't have like your Q yet. You have to start with W, and then you're going to need to get to like 2 or 3 before you can really start fighting back properly and pushing the wave back. So what he could look to do is push in and then try to poke you under turret, or he can move. And what you can try to do is push back the best you can and dodge the early skills and make sure you're not standing in the wave, because if he gets to push both the wave and hit you, then he gets double the value. But if you're off to the side, then he has to choose between whether he wants to push the wave or whether he wants to hit you. And if he has to make that decision, then he has to give up something one way or the other. Alright, so we're both going to start Doran's Ring, I assume. He has a stopwatch, that's something to note. So if you push him in post 6, and it's past 10 minutes, that stopwatch can be really important, especially if he goes into turret. He could drop tower rate, aggro that way. He can also dive you safer with that stopwatch. Something to keep in mind. You always want to note if they have a stopwatch at the start of the game. He's the only one in this game with one. I'm glad we don't have 9 stopwatches per game anymore. And then you guys are both going to have a lot of wave clear a little bit later levels. You can look to roam bot lane fairly reliably once you have like the ability to clear waves. Because Ashe can set up a gank really easily for you. Bard can set up a gank. If either of them lands their ultimate, like you basically kill somebody for free. Unless your bot lane gets super far behind, and if your bot lane gets super far behind, then you and this Nasus can dive this Pantheon from full. So I would look bot first because it's really reliable. Oh, the Brand's already got first blood. Hell yeah. That's what we like to see. He has no ignite. So initially, he's not going to have ignite. If you had a fight summoner like barrier or heal, that would be more meaningful. That would mean that you could probably aggress on him in the first couple of levels. But at least he's not going to get to go purchase here. I think he had time to go buy, so he should have went and bought like a Dark Seal in another pot or something. But he didn't. So this kill doesn't mean anything initially. This kill matters when on the first recall. On the first recall, you'll feel this, but this doesn't matter at level 1. It's kind of tilting, but it doesn't matter at level 1. So this is what I'm talking about. You're standing next to the caster minions. This is where you should be off to the side a little bit. Let me focus this on Azir. So you can either be off to the side a little bit here or here, and then if he wants to hit the casters, he can't hit you too. So standing here is like scary because he can move up. He had his W up there, and he could when you go for like an auto like that, he can do that. So like yeah. If you're standing here, you take the damage. You want to be off to the sides. Against champions that have like longer cooldown AoE, you want to make them make that decision. That was good. You hit level 2 first. You immediately gave him a comment. I told this thing I wanted to focus on the Azir and it went to top lane. It didn't care. He's taking a ton of damage here. You can move up here and keep poking too. Now you're the one that should position forward. He doesn't have ignite from level 1. You move up here. This is your time. This is your timing. You move up. Here he missed his W. He has no way to stun you. He can't do anything. Move up. Kick his ass. This is free. You should be pressuring. He should be missing CS and taking extra damage for this right now. Especially after he missed that W. Because he has W and Q and he already showed that he has Q as a second spell. So he had no way to do anything of meaning to you. So that was a window where you can punish him harder. This is another thing. He W's the wave here. You move here. You can move down. So then he has to make the decision. If he EQs you, he can't trigger his passive on you because he doesn't have enough spells to do it. And then you can still trade back damage effectively. And if he E's the creep wave here and you move back up, then you take the damage. So you want to move down here and make him make the decision again. Do you want to keep hitting the creep wave or do you want to try to trade into me? And if he hits the creep wave, then you get a free trade. And if he trades into you, he spends a lot of mana because then he would use his Q for it too. And then oh, this is your time. This is your time. He just missed his Q. Even though you're low, this is still your timing. Where he missed his Q there, I'm gonna go back a tiny bit. I'm gonna speed it up to. I'll speed it up after. So like, let's watch here. You're standing in the creep wave. You're gonna take a W. That's what happens here, right? If you're standing in the creep wave, this is bad. You should be off to the side, probably like up here. And then he misses his Q because he has to go around all these creeps. So he misses the Q. This is your timing. You move across here, parallel to him. He moves down here, you move here, and then his cooldowns come up now. They're back up now. So you had like an 8-second window where you can kind of beat him up and get free damage. Because even though his he's higher health than you were there, and you had just taken a chunk, he doesn't have the availability of any spells to threaten you. So you can kind of just walk at him and make sure you get all of your spell damage off. We'll let this catch up. See, your bot lane's ahead. This is really good that your bot lane is ahead here, because this means that your ganks to bot lane later are probably going to be even easier. They don't need to chase here. They're not going to kill him. They just need to push in as hard as possible so that they can reset the wave. This is another timing. He used his W and his E here. This is where you move up, and then you summon a soldier, and then you poke at him on the edge of turret range. So that's something that we need to do different immediately. Be mindful of your positioning in lane. Try to stand off to the side, not on top of the caster minions. So that he either, if he trades into you, you get to push in for free. And if you get to push in for free, then you get to decide when you recall, and you're not going to miss very much because you're always going to get a good recall because you're always the one pushing. And if he chooses to trade into, and if he chooses to hit the wave, then you get a trade for free. So your spells are lower cooldown for those kinds of trades, so you're the one that gets to dictate that. Because you can stab at him and then still poke the creeps afterward, and you still get plenty of time. Like, you get plenty of damage from it. It's a lot less committal from you to push a wave than it is from him. So when you get back here, you're getting toward the point where you can, you bought tier. So with this tier, you can very, very aggressively push. You can very, very aggressively push, basically. Most people, the cat flying out at him while the dude's at like fucking 1 health. He used his spells. This is your time. You can move up more aggressively there. You're skirting on like the outside, but you can be the aggressor there more easily. You can move further up. These are about the times where you can look to set something up with your ultimate. If Shaco's around mid, you can just look to go with it. This is good. He used his spells on the back wave, and you stabbed him immediately. That's good. That's what you want to look for every time. Get it. Oh, you have enough attack speed. Most Azirs don't even build on tier because he already gets plenty of mana to do his job with like they just build Nashers. He doesn't generally need it. So the Q missed here, but the stab landed at least. But the Q is actually pretty guaranteed. This is another scenario. You get too close to something that's marked and you take E damage. You can just move at a little bit different of an arc. You can move down. You can move up there. Just not move alongside it. And you won't take that burn spread. And when he goes to something like this, this is where you can be pushed further back. Cleanses value. Ooh. Did we have E up still? What happened to our E? Let's go back. What happened to our E? Let's speed through this. Let me pause this for a second. Talia build. I normally go Seraphs into Morellos or Leandries, depending on how tanky they are, and then I go Rabcap out of that, generally. Sometimes Rylai's if I want to be tankier, sometimes Void Staff if they have a lot of MR. So what happens here? WE. If you E here, even late, you probably live, because you get the shield. How long does the shield last? Because you died at the second tick of Ignite. When you come up, I'll be able to click on you. Shield lasts 1.5, so you can only block 2. Oh, 2? Airy. Airy, Mana Flow, Celerity, Scorch, or Water Walking, doesn't matter. You can take any of the third tier. And then I go Resolve if they have a heavy trading threat, and I go Domination if I want to be able to push more because I can get more sustained through Domination. So when you're pushed in like this, he's going to have to use spells on the wave to counteract your push. And then if he uses these spells, then you can get free poke here, or you can threaten to go elsewhere. So this is when you would look for like top lane. So like Nasus just push top, so you can push this in and you can walk straight to top lane. You can't go bot because your Ashe is recalled, but this is a good timing right here. The wave is pushed in. The next one's not going to be here for like 5-6 seconds till it meets. You could actually already be roaming topside. You could be topside with this Shaco, and you can make this a 3v1, and it would be basically guaranteed. They'll probably get him anyway. Does he have flash? He has flash. Never mind. All right, so maybe if you're here, you know, you can give him a little shuffle. But like that's a window when you get to push in this aggressively. When you get to kill waves like here, this is when you get to dictate the pace of like what happens in side lanes, and that's what you should look for. When you get to push up, that's your timing to move. So like if you get to kill this wave immediately, then you have an opportunity to move. And top lane just had to recall, so bot lane will probably be there sooner, so you can push up and then you can look bot lane. Also, yeah, he used his W. You move up. Oh. WE. That's CC all true comboed. Can I see your perspective from that? I want to see like if you summon that second soldier when bone plating is busted for resolve. Yeah, bone plating and Chrysalis, whatever it is. Bone plating is busted as fuck. Can I see red team perspective? Alright, so you made the soldier like the same time that appeared. When he's moving up aggressively like that though, you can move more toward your ward. Just a little bit. Granted, there's not really a ton that you can do about like that specific scenario. I'll give you that one. Not a ton you can do in that specific scenario. They're running down the clown. This bard just sacrificed his life for the cause. Oh, we got top turret because he went mid. That's good actually. That's not bad, really. The gank took so long they ended up getting top turret. Wait, what happened here? What happened here? So you're chasing the Pantheon. This is fine. Oh. If you push him down here, then the only one that gets to damage you is the brand. So if you get the right push here, then you just use it for like the damage. They up the damage on it at some point. It actually just pretty meaningful damage. If you just or you don't even have to hard commit because Shaco's gonna get the slow. I actually don't think you need to commit at all. You can just sit here and the dude's at like 30%, right? You don't even need to shuffle. Let's go back to that again. Yeah, so Shaco's already going to get... You can get the slow. You don't need to follow this. Going into melee there is scary. You don't need to follow this. You can just get the slow and poke over the wall. And if he goes down because you're coming up, then Shaco kills him because he has to walk through Shaco and you can get a little bit of damage in. And if he goes up, then you get to keep poking him while he goes up and then he dies that way. But if you were going to go over and do the shuffle, you got to do the shuffle down. So that he can't stun you immediately. Because then he gets his stun and all of his damage off. But you can stop his damage by just pushing him down. I think you wanted to push the brand away to make sure you guys got the 2v1. But I think you just pushed him down for the damage and make sure he dies as fast as possible. So that they can't combo you. Let's speed this back up. Alright, don't stab them when you have a little bit of AP. It doesn't work. You gotta wait. And then you can just give them the one stab after. You don't have to treat it like a normal champion where they have to hit it twice. You don't have to, because you do more damage with your soldier autos than the average champion does with a regular auto. So you got to push in early here too. Yeah, this is good. This is good. You're leaving. This is fine. You're getting chased by Rengar. Oh. If you're going to take the cone here, you probably take the cone down, because it'll bring you closer to your bot lane, who might be able to respond. It's not guaranteed, but maybe they can respond on the back end of it. But this is the right play. Going down after you push in the wave is the right play. Getting to the blast cone is fine. You could go over the wall potentially here. You don't really know where the Rengar is necessarily, but ideally you go toward your bot lane in some way. Also, make sure you're getting your WE shield before when people go on you. It makes you a lot harder to kill. It's actually pretty significant. He's just dead. Maybe he lives forever. This guy just walked in and threw a Q into the fucking Into the chickens. He just flashed and threw a Q into the chickens. This clown can die if he shows. So this is fine. Yeah, you're fine. You're fine to be relatively far forward positioned as is here normally. The first gank that happened to you, you shouldn't have died to. The second one where you die to the Pantheon falling out of the sky, that one's not very that one you can't do too much. That one you can't do too much about. The first one you can E early and get away from it probably. So let's push this in. And then let's look for somebody else. So he's here. WE, you should be fine. You might not even need to ult here. Because if he chases into your turret, and then you ult him toward the turret, you might even be able to turn a kill here. This could be a point where, like, this could be like a turning point where you can punish this Rengar for his over-aggression. 7.5k life, Scion, by the way. This dog is slowly becoming hard for this guy to deal with too, because he hasn't got anything in lane against the dog, but the dog got like solo turret gold and stuff like that. They might get a kill here. Probably will. Oh wait, let's see what happened here. Let's see what happened. Fuck you, directed camera. Show me the bird, man. Let's see the interaction. Alright, so he moves up, he misses his Q, and you dash past his W. He straight up missed his Q, and you dash past his W, and he takes a couple turret shots along the way. Excellent. He walks up and ints. We're all about it. Bot lane. Oh, Rengar was there. So this is an opportunity. You know where everybody is. You should have already been pushing this wave up. And then you can either hit the turret. I mean, it's not safe for you to go down here. So your options would be to hit the turret or to go top lane and to dive this Pantheon so they can get the inner. As it turns out, they failed their dive. Maybe if you were there sooner, like, you can push that over. But this is, yeah, you should have been on this turret like 7 seconds sooner. You can push in another wave now too. You have this ward here, and you can exit this way. You have this ward here, you can exit this way. At any time, you can exit this way, and you're safe. So you can actually push this wave in and exit here. And if worse comes to worse, you E, and then you Q over the wall. Then you can make it all the way from like here to here. Can even get the Bard again. This is turning into a shit show. Speed it up, catch up. Catch up to the live 3 minutes behind. Alright, I was typing something. My bad. Let's look back through this. Alright, so you're already low. Brand dies for walking up too far really aggressively. What happens on the back end of this? Let's look at the back end of this. So you guys are coming down. You're going to punish the Rengar. You can't get too close here or the Rengar can jump on you. This is bad. Yeah, this is bad. This, you don't need to be here. You can sit further back. You already got your damage off, and then you can threaten to go back this way. This is your safe zone. You can go this way with your WE when the Pantheon's falling. And then you don't need to get in range, because you can give him a potential avenue to escape, and he can do a ton of damage to you, because he'll have his Duskblade. So you moved up too far here, and that's what happens. That's completely avoidable. Because he's going to die regardless of whether you move up for that little bit of damage, so you don't need to. This clown gonna get away with it? This clown. He's nuts. Alright, let's watch the chicken. How's our chicken doing? Alright, chicken's doing a lot of damage at least. You can tell by how quickly he slays the creeps. Chicken's getting there. This is the timing where you guys aren't safe to like move up to the turret, so moving back here is good. Not safe. You don't know where they are. You know Braum is coming up now. You know Pantheon's here. You don't know where Rengar is. This is actually kind of scary. And you know Braum should be here about now. You should be fine. Oh my god, that prediction he just tried. Dog can kill him. If he gets another wither. Does he get the wither? She's not gonna get the wither. Brand lives. Alright, so this is exactly what I was talking about. You guys are up too far, and you guys do not have the dog who is really powerful, and your Shaco gets there late. What happened right here? How did he actually get to you? I should leave this thing on directed camera. Me trying to control this camera is doomed. Alright, so you get away fine. Yeah, this is exactly why I didn't want you guys to be up forward in the first place, because Rengar can collapse really easily, your dog's not here. Shaco just gets here now, but they're already dead, so it's not like he can meaningfully do anything. He's going to get stunned, he's going to die in it. And then this guy gets to you. Just ult early here. Just ult early, yeah, just ult him up, and then you can just walk down. And then worst case scenario, he walks out the other side and doesn't die. But like you could even potentially like threaten to like poke him after the fact and outrange him, because he doesn't have flash, but you have flash. So just ult early. Make sure you just use it to get him off you. Instead, you flirted around with it too much. 'Cause I don't know if you were certain whether you could get the kill or not, because it looked like you were unsure. And because you're unsure, you don't end up getting it. Bard into the kill. Let's see. He's on the cat. He kills the cat. All right, that's fine. Can he get back and do another deceive? That's the key. All right, he's got a deceive. He'll be fine. Oh, he went for the kill. So while that was happening, all right, somebody's dead at every moment of this game. This is hard to follow. I'm letting the directed camera. Direct me, camera. Show me the Shaco. Now move back to the Azir. Alright, so what happens here? Alright, so you're moving forward. Yes. Oh, you're just too far up. We knew that they were coming from mid, so not safe. A lot of these are just like, think of like where they are on the minimap and then where they could be really soon, and then respond accordingly. So like you see them moving in a couple of seconds, they can be here, so you can't move on this side. If you're gonna look for like the same kind of poke, you go on this side so you see them early, and then you can move back along the wall. Just like when you guys were all in mid lane, you moved back in the first place, so that was good, but you guys are still up too far in the first place, because you could still potentially just get a Pantheon ulted from where you were and get corralled. So you guys are up too far, and you guys knew that Braum was coming, so there's no reason for you to be up that far, like in that risk. Directed camera where? So you're still building toward a second item. That feels real bad too. Because by this point, you normally want to have like your either Ludens if you were going that for like poke, or you want to have like your Morellos so you can have your dual pen to scale up your damage. Leandri's if they had a tanky team. In this game, you'd probably go dual pen. That'd probably be the best bet, because their team is relatively squishy. Your dog is still relatively strong on the whole. There's potential for this dog here. That might have been an opportunity for you to E in and then get a quick R. But I'm not even sure if you guys would win the fight even if you get a good R there. So I'm not sold on that. I'm not sure it would work out even if you did. This guy's gonna go for. Oh, he could go forward there. That was free. Alright, so it's not safe to chase because you can get Ezreal queued. Oh, there you go. Yeah. I actually like this better. This guy's gonna say that you're inting. This guy's gonna say that you're trolling by not going. But I think this is fine. He shouldn't have went for that, because both of you can potentially die. Because if you move up, he can threaten you on the edge of W range really easily. So I agree with moving back there. Like after he blows his load on Bard, you could be on the outskirts and then kill him on the back end of it. But I think the safer play for both of you is just to walk away, because there's like higher risk if you try to contest. So I think building towards Seraphs here is actually doomed. And you should go get this top wave. Go get it. Get the top wave. Somebody has to get it, and you're broke. You need some money. You need some muns, dude. Instead of getting ran down by Pantheon, you could be getting top turret and gold. You can get all this gold. You guys get some on the back end? You should kill him. Alright, not bad. That's something. Still stuff you guys could get up here. Still want somebody to go. Especially when you're behind, it's really important to make sure that you can get all the farm that you guys can possibly get. This dog is so mighty. Wait, what happened here? Oh, you moved back. This scenario, I think you should be moving up with him. Because he's so powerful. And the only thing that might protect you from this Rengar is potentially this dog. Yeah, so here, you can kill these couple of creeps, like that's fine. But Rengar's ulting, right? So, even if you go to turret here, he has to flash at least. It's better if you don't let him leap before you E. So, think of it this way. When you E and then he still gets to use his leap to get to you, he used one resource and then you had to use two to get him off of you because you had to E plus R. So you have more resources in theory than he does, right? Because in theory, all things equal, you'd have E, R, and flash. And then he just has R and flash. So the only reason that he gets to you there is because you E'd and then you R'd immediately because you had to get him off of you. But if you save the E till he gets to you, or you start with R to push him back out of the leap, then he has to flash past at that point, and then you still have your E to create distance. So you use your E, and then he still gets to close the gap with his R. So that's just like a micro situation. You don't want that to turn out that way. You want him to have to use his resources to get to you, and then you respond accordingly. Unless he's so fed he literally one-shots you, which he's not fed enough to literally one-shot you, so... So you do have time to, like, R reactively and then E after the fact. He's not that strong, thank God. Give him a couple more kills, you know, maybe he will be. Maybe. At least your dog is really powerful. Anywhere your dog is can be a winning fight. Because nobody on their team can deal with this dog very effectively. Nobody on this team can deal with this dog very effectively. So you guys are going to play off the dog. You want to be behind this dog so you can get off as much safety damage as possible while they struggle to deal with him. And wherever this dog is the place to be. You guys can also do a really fast Baron in this game, and it's something that you guys should look for. They have a pretty quick Baron too with Brand, but having Azir plus Shaco's clone to tank it, and then you have the dog who can just ult and just spam Qs into it every 1 second. You guys have a really quick Baron. That's something that you guys can look for to close your advantage out. So as soon as you guys get the opportunity, you get a couple of kills, then you guys just do Baron, and then you immediately just try to take like multiple turrets and stuff like that. This dog is being a little too aggressive. This dog is probably dead without being able to kill anybody. He's just CC'd for 10 minutes. Alright, so your dog was inting. Now, if they get the Baron here, this game is probably over because you guys have really reliable wave clear, but... looking rough. Your Ashe has been chilling in the fountain for a minute. She DC. Can I see chat? Can't see chat. She DC or she chilling waiting on a big item? I'm gonna say she DC'd. So what you need is an orb. You need pen to be able to do as much damage and trade back as much as possible. Also, the armor is helpful. Armor from like a Seekers would be helpful. In this game, you could have went Nashers, Morello, Lasagnas, and you would actually be relatively safe against their dive. It would buy you time. It would give you another resource to use against like Rengar or Pantheon dive. And then you'd actually be really hard to kill with your E mobility, your R, Seraph Shield, health from Morello. She did end up DCing, and then also Zanya. So I think the Archangels in this game is a mistake. A lot of birds don't even build any mana items because his mana usage as the game progresses is actually really low. Even though Archangels is really good, his mana usage is just really low as the game progresses. Listen. This Shago's not going to get a Q off. He's dead as fuck. Oh! You know what? Maybe he lives forever. Maybe he just lives forever. His dog needs to ult. This dog's going to get ran down. Ult, dog! This dog has balls of steel. He just walked away from them at like fucking 50 health, that whole thing. Balls of steel. What are you buying here? Because you should be on the edge of the fight right here. Like, you could probably killed the Brand for like the way that he walked there. Because you were healthy, so you would be relatively safe to do so. I don't know if the orb there was more important than the fact that they were right at your base. This guy's dead. Timely cleanse. Ashe AFK'd. Yeah, they used the Baron. God, that sucks, because it... Yeah, I was wondering what happened to her, because she's been sitting here for like a minute, and then it finally said that she DC'd. So, that sucks. Because you guys actually had like some potential to come back into this game, as you guys started to get items, and because your dog was really strong. So if, as long as you guys were all there behind your dog, like, you guys could have potentially been really potent still, despite the disadvantage. So the big takeaways, I'll just start now. The big takeaways are, in lane, you don't want to be in the same place as the creep wave when they have a champion that has to commit long C's, cooldowns, to use his spells. I mean, to clear the wave. So like Brandos uses WE, which have like 10-second cooldowns, and they're like targeted, right? So when he uses those on the wave, then you have to be off to the side of the wave so that you can't get hit by the E, so that you can trade back damage if he does try to clear the wave. And then if he tries to throw them into you, you can potentially dodge. And then you can either trade back the damage, or you get to push in the wave for free. And then even if he chunks you, you get to push in the wave for free. So you get to dictate the pace of the lane and like when you recall. So when I upload this as a highlight, I will link it to you later. When I uploaded it as a highlight, the early laning parts of this, there's like a lot of little micro situations that you can do like a little bit better. That would actually make like a really big difference. And then there's the one scenario where Rengar dives you, where I think you can live pretty easily. This time you're actually just fine. Like, you did about as well as you could there. You ulted early, you E'd after the fact, and you just get ran down through 2 turrets. That time there's not much you can do. Some of the early ganks, you can if you save a W for your E, then you can basically always get out of them. Try not to commit too hard to trades. Try to keep like your AW up so that you can always evacuate. And if they've been leaning toward an area, like sometimes you see the person like 5 seconds before, like, and they could be going in your direction, then just give them the benefit of the doubt that they probably are, and just play it safe. This poor dog is trying his heart out. Trying to give them so many canes, but he just doesn't have enough canes. There's not enough canes in the world. Yeah, dude, you're right. Top lane sucks. This guy got really strong. Even though he's 3-8, he's really strong, and then he's useless. He just can't do anything. Just like this 13-4 Pantheon is actually not that crazy right now. In actuality. But I think also the Seraphs, most people don't build a mana item on Azir. So Azir has a lot of flexibility in what he builds because he doesn't necessarily strictly need a mana item, and Nashor's Tooth gives him 20% CDR. So what a lot of people like to do is they go dual pen. So you can go straight Sword Shoes Orb as your second item, and then you build it into the Morellos. The Morellos in this game isn't crazy value, so you at least get the dual pen. Then you could even go Seekers after that. Just because they have a squishy team, the dual pen would be really strong. And then you could go Seekers early to mitigate some damage after you're just laning against Brand. Or you can just get a Zhonya's later to give you another resource, because you don't need to scale your damage as hard, because Azir does tons of DPS as the game progresses regardless. But if you got ahead and you had dual pen, then you can just go Rab Cap and just really drive home how much damage you do. But Zhonya's would be the safe bet, because Azir doesn't need as much damage to be effective, because he does so much baseline. Cleanse didn't see the best use in this game. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to take against their composition. It's just that you didn't end up in many scenarios where you got like Boled and then you got punished from there. You get baited by the mega attack speed steroid from 3 soldiers. Yeah. But then if you're committing 3 soldiers too, then like you're losing out on like some of the safety that the champion has, because like the champion has enough safety that you should almost never die in lane, let's say. Where's like the first time you died? Because the first time you died is like Pantheon comes around behind you, right? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, so we see him come up like this is what I'm talking about too. We see him going up like 5 seconds ago, so you have to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's probably coming from this way. And you have a soldier up. You should first button should be like E to get the shield to block as much damage as possible, and then you can like cleanse and flash from there. And if you had the shield there for the initial damage, then you probably survive this outright, or if you just got your E off in any capacity for like the distance early. And then the second time I think is the one where you couldn't really do too much about it, I don't think, because he just ults behind you, and I looked at like your Fog of War, and you can't, you summon your soldier here in the same time that like that happens, and then you get stunned. So your soldier is up again, but like the same time that you summoned a soldier is like the same time that he R'd. So I think that's really unfortunate timing. That's not like necessarily something that you did super wrong. You could avoid that by just being more safe in general, but I don't think like that one is necessarily super bad. And then the next one is bad. And these are the things I wanted to highlight. Like, these scenarios should be relatively avoidable. This is the one where Shaco comes down, I think. And then Shaco wants to kill this guy. And you come over here and you put your R this way to push away the brand, I assume, make sure he can't follow. But since it doesn't stop the Pantheon, he gets to do his full combo on you too. Yeah, so you go over and you put this here. And I don't know if this was supposed to hit him and like it was a miscue, or if it was supposed to stop brand. If it was supposed to hit him, just hit him down, take the damage from it, he gets CC'd, he probably dies for free, and then you get to walk away. But the way it turns out, it looks like you were trying to hit brand away, and hitting brand away here, you just take the full damage from the Pantheon from below. Which is not ideal. But the first and third one are really avoidable. I don't really blame you for the second one. And then the early laning, you can get a much bigger advantage with the way that this brand was playing, and you need to be really mindful of your positioning, especially relative to the creep wave. And then always think of, when people are diving you, think of it as you're trading resources, right? So like think of it in you can actually equate it to like WoW, like tanking, right? So you tank as DK, right? And the guy tries to hit you, like the boss has this big Q he hits you with, right? And you expend 1 resource for it. But then you still have your other resources, right? And you have to save those for the other Qs that he has. Well, let's say Rengar flies at you. And that's one of his resources with his R. And then the other resource he has is Flash. And then those are his 2 resources. Your resources are E, R, and Flash. So you have 3, and he has 2. So unless you use one before he has to use one, then you always win the arms race, because he's the one that has to close on you, because you're the one with range too. So what happens at one point in this game is he Rs and you E early. So you use one of your resources early and you don't have flash up. So you have 1 left at this point. It should have been 2-2 because he has his flash up, but instead you only have 1 left. So his R goes straight to you through your E, so then you have 1 and 1. So then you R, and then he flashes over it and he kills you. So he trades effectively when you didn't need to necessarily trade that way, because you could trade with R first, and then it forces him to flash immediately, and then you save your E. But you use your E before he has to use one. So try to save your mobility to counteract his mobility as a response. Just think of them as like resources, and you have to get through like you got to get through the full bar of resources. You got to use them all up, and you have to use them sometimes in a certain order. So that one was just a misaim. Yeah, that happens. Then the idea was fine. But yeah, why is he even running around at like execute range from a spear? So your recalls were generally fine. I think that's probably because you had tiered and you ended up like dying. So like it's not like you were sitting in lane with low mana a ton necessarily. You could punish this brand a lot more early, and positioning really important. And then be really mindful of your resources later in the game, like cleanse, flash, E, your ultimate. There's multiple situations where you can get more out of them, or just if you have like a better E, or if you're sitting in a different place, then like it makes like a really big difference for how much you get to put into the fight. Alright, and I will upload this as a highlight later, and probably upload it to YouTube.